The $20 Ultimate Endless Shrimp you ate at Red Lobster in 2023 was bleeding the company $11 million, and the shrimp came from a supplier that owned a piece of the chain. The enemy is a federal rule, 16 CFR Part 464. In May of 2025, it made hotels and ticket sites show the real total price. Restaurants were left out. And the strange part isn't the cheap chain, it's the expensive one. I'll show you 3 chains still hand-cutting steaks in the building. So today, 5 dinner chains you should walk right past, and 3 that are actually worth your money. Let's define what we're talking about, because real gets thrown around a lot on a menu. Real, in a restaurant, means one thing you can actually verify. The food was cooked in that building, that day, from ingredients that showed up raw, not thawed, not reheated in a bag, cooked. And doing it that way costs real money. A cook who can break down a whole sirloin is a skilled hire, not a minimum wage button pusher. Scratched sides mean waste because vegetables go bad and frozen sides don't. Baking bread means somebody's paid to be there at 6 in the morning. Every one of those is a line item a finance team can delete, and the customer usually can't tell for about a year. Now the loophole. There's a federal rule, 21 CFR 101.11, that covers every chain with 20 or more locations. It makes them print calories on the menu. That's it. There is no requirement to tell you where the food was made, when it was made, or what's in it. In the grocery store, you can turn the package around. At a restaurant, there is no package. And words like fresh, homemade, and scratch have no legal definition on a menu at all. So later, I'm going to show you a 60-second test you can run at the table, on the check itself, that tells you exactly how a chain really feels about you. Let's start. Chain number 5, Olive Garden. This is the one you go to for a birthday because it feels safe and everybody eats. Unlimited breadsticks, unlimited salad, nobody argues about it. In September of 2014, an investment firm called Starboard Value published a presentation on Olive Garden's parent company that ran close to 300 slides. Buried in there was something small and unforgettable. Olive Garden had stopped putting salt in the water it cooks pasta in. And when management was asked why, the explanation was that skipping the salt got them an extended warranty on the pots. Read that one more time. The largest Italian restaurant chain on earth was cooking pasta in unsalted water to protect the cookware. Starboard called the decision appalling and said the result was mushy pasta well below what competitors were putting out at the same cost. The same presentation went after the breadsticks, not the free refills, the waste. Olive Garden already had a policy of 1 breadstick per diner up front and more only when asked, and it wasn't being followed. Starboard put $4 to $5 million a year on the table just from bread hitting the trash. So the 2 things this brand is famous for were both being run on cost decisions nobody at your table heard about. Now the money part. The never-ending pasta bowl held at $13.99 for 4 straight years. That sounds generous, it's math. Dry pasta costs pennies a plate, so the more of it you eat, the better their margin looks. This year, the promotion runs from the end of August to late November at $14.99. They're banking on you counting the plates instead of tasting them. Soft, watery pasta reads as generous when there's a 3rd bowl coming. Eat there 4 times a year and you've spent about $60 on the cheapest ingredient in the building, and you've been trained to call it a deal. But the next one doesn't hide the shortcut in the food at all. It hides it on your receipt. Chain number 4, Applebee's. This is the one that shows up when nobody wants to decide. Half off apps, 2 for a fixed price, a coupon in the mail. Value is the entire personality of this brand. So watch what happened when people started ordering delivery. On August 1st of 2024, a class action was filed in federal court, Clark versus Dine Brands Global, case number 324 CV04679. The complaint alleges Applebee's adds an 11% service fee to online delivery orders and buries it. According to the filing, the fee sits in a cluster of other delivery charges on the final screen behind a small icon you have to click. And once the order goes through, the complaint says, the line disappears entirely and gets folded into something labeled custom fee. A second suit making the same claim was filed in May of 2025. Both are still allegations, and nothing has been proven in court. But the reason this is even a fight is the rule I mentioned at the top. That FTC fee rule covers concert tickets and hotel rooms. It does not cover restaurants. 11% on a $60 family order is $6.60. Order that twice a month for a year, and you're at roughly $160 in a charge that was never on the menu. And you can't audit it after the fact because, per the complaint, the itemized line is gone by the time the receipt reaches you. That's the label game moved off the food and onto the checkout screen. In the United Kingdom, since October 1st of 2024, a mandatory service charge has to go to the workers in full, and the business can't skim an administration fee off it. Just not here. Now, the next brand is the one people defend in the comments, because it used to be the good one. Chain number 3, Outback Steakhouse. This is the anniversary restaurant, the one you picked when you wanted a real steak but not a $100 steakhouse. For a decade, Outback was the biggest steak chain in America. I'm not going to guess what happened to it. Their own chief executive said it out loud. In 2025, Chief Executive Mike Spanos told shareholders, and I'm quoting, "We are not where we want to be." Then his team laid out the diagnosis, and it's brutal reading for a steakhouse. An overly complicated menu, unclear brand positioning, an inconsistent guest experience, a gap in steak quality, and what they called diminishing value perception. A gap in steak quality at a steakhouse, from the steakhouse. They announced a $75 million plan to fix it and started closing restaurants, 21 of them in 2025 alone. Meanwhile, the industry sales data told the same story from the outside. Outback did about $2.7 billion in 2024, down almost 4%, with traffic falling 5 years running. And look at what a menu gets when a chain drifts. Dozens of items, half of them nothing to do with steak, all of them needing prep space and freezer space that the steak program used to own. That's how you end up with a thin, gray piece of sirloin that tastes more of char seasoning than beef on a plate that costs the same as it did when the steak was good. That is the part that bothers me. Not that the steak slipped, because steaks slip. It's that the price didn't slip with it. You were paying steakhouse money during the exact years the company now admits the steak wasn't there. If this is already saving you from a bad dinner, do me a favor and hit subscribe. We publish one of these every week. But brand number 2 is where this stops being about food quality and becomes something a state attorney general had to get involved in.
Chain number 2,
TGI Fridays. This was the after-work place. The striped awning, the stuff on the walls, the bartender flipping bottles. You went there and you ordered a real drink because that was the whole point. In 2013, New Jersey ran an undercover operation called Operation Swill. Investigators went into bars across the state and tested what was actually in the bottles. The franchise group that ran 13 TGI Fridays in New Jersey was fined $500,000. $400,000 in penalties, $100,000 for the cost of the investigation, covering 8 of those restaurants. The finding was that customers ordering top-shelf liquor were being served the cheap stuff. You ordered the premium pour. You paid for the premium pour. You drank the well. That's not a shortcut. That's your money going somewhere else while you're holding the glass. The spread between a well pour and a call brand is a few dollars a drink, which sounds small until you multiply it by a bar full of people on a Friday night, every Friday night. Then on November 2nd of 2024, TGI Fridays filed for Chapter 11. And here's the number that should stop you. There were $49.7 million in outstanding Fridays gift cards, and those cards never expire. That's real money from real people sitting in a bankrupt company. The company went from 140 corporate-owned U.S. restaurants at the start of 2024 to 39 by the time it filed. The franchised side kept shrinking too, down to 79 locations by late November of 2025. If a Fridays gift card is sitting in a kitchen drawer in your house right now, go dig it out tonight and check whether the nearest location is still open. That is money you already handed over. And the final chain on this list is the one where I genuinely got angry reading the court filings. Chain number 1, Red Lobster, Cheddar Bay Biscuits, Endless Shrimp, Your Mother's Birthday. This is the chain with the most goodwill of anything on this list, and it got taken apart from the inside. Start with the building. In 2014, under its then owner Golden Gate Capital, Red Lobster sold off its real estate and leased it back. Read that slowly. The company owned hundreds of buildings outright, sold them for cash, then signed up to rent those same buildings back from the new landlord. The cash went to the owners, the rent bill stayed with the restaurant, and it followed the chain for the next decade. Then the shrimp. In May of 2023, management made the $20 Ultimate Endless Shrimp deal permanent instead of a limited time promotion. Red Lobster's own bankruptcy filing puts the cost of that decision at $11 million. Now the part that makes it a story. Red Lobster's shrimp supplier, Thai Union, also held an ownership stake in Red Lobster. In its bankruptcy filing, Red Lobster alleged Thai Union exercised outsized influence over its shrimp purchasing decisions. A lawsuit that surfaced in June of 2026 described the promotion in blunter terms: a car crash. So when you sat down and ordered that endless plate, you weren't just buying shrimp, you were the volume in somebody else's supply deal. Red Lobster filed Chapter 11 in May of 2024 and closed restaurants across the country, including locations that had been in the same town for 30 years. Thai Union took an impairment of roughly $530 million getting out, and the customer who kept that chain alive for 40 years, who took her mother there every single birthday, got a closed sign and a shorter menu. Nobody at that table did anything wrong. You ordered the thing they advertised, at the price they set, in the building they used to own. Once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Which brings me to the test. Here's the 60-second check test, and you can run it tonight. When the check lands, don't look at the total. Run your finger up from the bottom and read every line above it. There should be exactly two things there that aren't food: tax and the tip line you fill in yourself. Good result. 2 lines. Food, then tax, then a blank tip line you control. That restaurant is charging you the price it printed on the menu. Bad result. A 3rd line. It'll be called a service fee, a kitchen fee, a dine-in experience fee, a wellness charge, or just custom fee. If it's already filled in and you didn't put it there, that's a price increase they didn't want to print on the menu. What it means. A chain that raises menu prices has to defend those prices to you. A chain that adds a line at the bottom of the check gets the same money without showing you a bigger number next to the food. It's the fastest way I know to sort a skip from a real one. Every chain on the good half of this list makes its money on the food. Now, if you've made it this far, here's the payoff. 3 dinner chains that are actually what they say they are. And one of them is cheaper per plate than the never-ending pasta bowl. But the surprise isn't that they're better, it's that 2 of the 3 are doing more work per plate than the chains charging you more. Chain number 3, Cheddar's Scratch Kitchen. In 1979, 2 guys named Doug Rogers and Aubrey Good opened the first one in Arlington, Texas. The name came from a 5th grade class they asked for suggestions. That's the whole origin story. No brand consultant, no concept deck. What they built it around was handmade food at a price that didn't require an occasion. And they kept it. Cheddar still hand-breads its chicken tenders in the restaurant. That's a person standing at a station breading chicken instead of opening a case of frozen pre-breaded tenders. The cost driver is staff hours, and that's an estimate, but it's the single most expensive way to put a tender on a plate. Here's the proof you can verify without asking anybody. The word scratch is in the legal name of the restaurant. They put it in the sign in 2015, and a chain that reheats its food does not invite you to test that claim. And the reviews keep landing on the same 2 words, big and cheap. People aren't calling it fancy, they're calling it the one place where the portion actually matched the price on the menu, which, after the last 20 minutes, should feel like a low bar that almost nobody clears. Now for the irony. In April of 2017, Darden bought Cheddar's for $780 million. Same parent company as Olive Garden. They're up to about 188 locations. Look for the stone exterior and the copper-topped bar. Chain number 2, Waffle House. Founded September 5th of 1955 in Avondale Estates, Georgia by Joe Rogers Sr. and Tom Fortner. 2 neighbors who wanted a place their friends could sit down and eat at any hour. Rogers ran the people side, Fortner ran the business side. They stayed friends for 60 years and died within 2 months of each other. And the reason Waffle House belongs on this list has nothing to do with a marketing claim. It's the building. There is no back kitchen. The grill is on the counter, 3 feet from your face. Think about what that costs them. Every chain we just talked about hides the kitchen behind a door because a door lets you use bags, freezers, and reheat equipment nobody wants to watch. Waffle House gave that up in 1955 and never took it back. Your eggs get cracked in front of you or they don't get made. That's the proof. And you don't have to trust me on it. Sit at the counter and watch. You'll see the eggs cracked, the hash browns dropped, the order called out in a shorthand the cook memorized. There's no bag, no timer, no pass-through window between you and the food. And get this, it's the only chain in this video where the kitchen can't lie to you because there isn't a wall to lie behind. 2,021 locations, 25 states, and the cheapest sit-down plate in this entire video. Look for the yellow sign with the black block letters. And if this ranking is useful, hit the like button. It really helps the channel cut through the algorithm. Chain number 1, Texas Roadhouse. February 17th, 1993, Clarksville, Indiana. Kent Taylor opened one restaurant on a simple idea. Steaks cut by hand, sides made from scratch, bread out of the oven every 5 minutes. A lot of chains would have quietly dropped all 3 by year 10 because each one costs money forever. Texas Roadhouse still employs a butcher in every single restaurant. Not a receiving clerk who opens a box of pre-portioned steaks, a meat cutter on payroll cutting USDA choice steaks by hand in that building. That's a skilled wage in every location, every day, plus the trim and waste from breaking down whole cuts. Frozen portion cut steaks erase all of it overnight. Here's your proof, sitting behind glass. Walk in and look for the butcher case near the front. They're on display because they were cut there, and the customers voted. In 2024, Texas Roadhouse did over $5.4 billion in sales and became the #1 casual dining chain in America, ending Olive Garden's 6-year run at the top, roughly double what Outback did in the same year. So the chain doing the most work per plate is the one winning, and the chain that skipped the salt to save its cookware got passed. That's the answer to the question I opened with. And here's the kicker. You can make the bread at home with flour, yeast, milk, butter, and honey in about 2 hours. And the honey cinnamon butter takes 4 minutes. We'll put the method in the description. Look for the corrugated metal, the neon, and the line out the door. They don't take reservations. Here's the one thing worth remembering. Olive Garden stopped salting its pasta water to get a longer warranty on the pots. And nobody told the customers for years. The worst offender here is Red Lobster. Sold, leased back, and drained while its customers were handed an endless plate that lost money on purpose. The best of them is Texas Roadhouse, which pays a butcher in every building and still became the biggest casual dining chain in the country. So here's your one action for next time. When the check comes, read the lines above the total. If there's a charge there that isn't tax and isn't your tip, put your card away and ask them to explain it. Next week, we're going after a chain that advertises fresh, never frozen on its window while shipping the exact same product as 3 of its competitors from the same plant. Drop the brand you still trust in the comments. We're building the list together. Hit subscribe if this changed how you shop today. We'll see you in the next aisle.